Hey, good morning. This is Seth Keeping It Real. I'm going to do something a little different today. I want to talk about the power of personality and how you can use that to leverage your Amazon and eBay business, as well as to improve yourself as an entrepreneur and how to make money. Self-awareness, I believe, is extremely important for success, because if I'm self-aware, I know my weaknesses and my strengths, and I can leverage my strengths to get better. I can work on my weaknesses and also get help from other people who tell me the truth, who aren't afraid of me and who aren't intimidated, but actually say, hey, here's what you need to do to get better. Not people who enjoy criticism and want attention, but people who actually want to help. That's why I love the phrase keeping it real. I hate flattery because it's fake, it's not real, it's selfish, it's doing something so you can get something out of someone. But over here, the other side is people who are critical, who love attention and they want people to notice them by being always debating and always criticizing. That's not helpful either. So we need a balance, being real. Compliments where compliments are due, but also healthy, helpful criticism where there's a weakness. So I want to constantly grow. So what I'm going to do is take you on a little journey that I went through when I was at Apple. Now this information is not unique to Apple. It is beyond Apple, so it's not some copyright issue going on here. But when I was at Apple, they took us through some training. And they said every person has at least one of 4 personality types. Now understandably, we're all going to be a mixture of these 4, maybe 2 or 2.5. But as a general rule of thumb, you can usually identify what personality type you are. Now by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to use that when you're selling products on Amazon, when you're talking to clients, when you're talking to the suppliers who are going to build your product, when you're researching products, when you're launching and trying to get people to review your product. It's really interesting. So watch this. Look at the 4 personality types. First up here, we have what's called a director. A director tends to be the person who takes control and wants to get things done. On a good side, they can be efficient, get things done quickly. But on the bad side, they can tend to be harsh. Then you have the entertainer. This guy or girl is the life of the party, always having fun, very entertaining, very inspiring, great speakers. On one side, they're great visionaries. On the other side, they can be a bit egotistical. Then you have the feeler. The feeler is the person who's super relational. They really connect with people well. You can't help but love these kind of people. They're very compassionate and merciful. On one side, they're very loyal and dependable, but on the weak side, they tend to be too conforming, where they will agree to something that they don't really agree with just to make sure everyone feels good, and then later they feel hesitant or they feel regret for that, maybe even a certain level of bitterness. And then down here you have the thinker. I felt like black was the most appropriate color for thinker. You know, director, green, they want to see growth. Entertainer, they're fiery, passionate. The feeler's very, calm and peaceful and loving. And then the thinkers, it's black and white, facts, right? The thinker, they love facts, they love details, they always ask clarifying questions. On the good side, they're very logical. Hope you can read that. My letters got a little squished. They're on a diet today. And then on the bad side, they can be critical, where they can start being critical and looking down on people because that person may not know as much as they do. Now, when I was at Apple, we all had to review each other. I had to review my boss had to review me, my subordinates me, and my fellow compatriots or comrades. And it was very interesting to get people's perspective. I also asked my wife to review me and my kids, and it was really interesting. I was getting different responses in different environments. What I learned is we tend to be a different personality type based on where we are, and that's a good thing. In fact, a very skilled leader is able to do a combination of these or one or the other based on the situation that they're in. But one thing stands true. We all tend to lean towards one or two of these as people. And none of these are better or worse than the other. In fact, I was hesitant to put, it in an order from top down. That doesn't mean director's better than thinker. I just had to pick an order. So as we walk through these, ask yourself, which one do I tend to be? And how does this affect my business? And if you want, you can go beyond that. How does it affect my relationship with my spouse and my kids? How can I improve? And if you still have a full-time job, which I know you're looking forward to firing your boss, how does it affect those relationships as well? You can really leverage this well. So the first one I'm going to look at is going to be the director. Directors tend to be very strong leadership focused. They're very good at getting things done. They're not going to worry about people's feelings as much. They're just going to make it happen. And there's a time and place where you've got to be a director. But if you're the director kind of person who tends to just focus on being efficient, getting it done, taking direction, and you hate people beating around the bush, you just want a straight answer, just make sure you don't run over people in the process. Some people have more sensitive feelings than others, so try to keep that in mind. These are real people, and they'll help you, but you don't want to burn out the very people you're trying to help or that you're leading. The next one is the entertainer. Now, the entertainers tend to be the life of the party. They tend to be visionaries, good speaker, inspiring. Some of them are more funny, some of them are more motivational. But either way, the entertainer has a lot of fire and spark. I just made up a new word, fire and spark. Fire and spark in them. Maybe that was just a little entertainer. It could be me right there. They're great visionaries. They're motivating. But have you seen this before? And I've seen this with a lot of entrepreneurs. They can get really egotistical. They can get really critical of people who disagree with them. They can make it all about them. So if you're the entertainer type, leverage that, but don't make it all about you. Because at the end of the day, if you're not helping people solve a solution, your business will crash. It cannot ride on your personality. No one's personality is dynamic enough for that to last forever. Then you have the feeler. The feeler, if you're a feeler, you're very compassionate, you connect with people well. If you're at a party, you're not going to be talking to everyone and saying toast like the entertainer. You're not going to be the director who just planned the whole thing and made it happen efficiently. You're going to be the person with one-on-one conversations with different people in the party, and you sit down and have a very heart-to-heart conversation. Now, in some cultures, this is considered a weakness, in others, it's a strength. This is a strength. Just leverage it well. Make sure you're not being so feeling that you're conforming to whatever people do and you're always doing everything to make sure everyone is okay. If you do that, you're going to struggle with feeling resentful and people will use you and take advantage of your loyalty. So you have to be able to say no when it's time to say no. And then lastly, I didn't have a black one, so I put the yellow, I think it works. The thinker. If you're a thinker, you need to know details. You need to know step by step what comes next. And you're very intellectual, which is awesome, and you probably like to read. However, be careful, because with that knowledge can come a certain level of pride, and you can become critical. And you don't want to become critical to a point where you start looking down on people, because that will hurt you and hurt those you love. Being right is not always the most important thing. It is important, but not always. Especially if being right becomes about your ego instead of about actually helping people and providing a solution. Now, here's the tricky part. If you're a director, you're going to struggle with working with entertainers when they are beating around the bush having fun. You need to slow down for the entertainer. If you're an entertainer and you're struggling with the director being so direct, it's okay to get a little bit efficient. If you're an entertainer and you're working with the feeler, you may really struggle because here you're having fun and you're getting people inspired, but they're so worried about people's toes being stepped on. That can be annoying to you. But remember, they're going to bring a connection with people you can't. So you need those feelers in your life. And feelers, it's okay to relax and have fun a little bit and not take everything personally. If you're a thinker and you're always thinking and figuring things out, don't look down on the feeler because they're bringing emotional connection. And as of late in the last decade, emotional intelligence has actually been given a greater grade or value than IQ, because emotional intelligence has to do with the ability to read people, connect with people, work with them. If you can't work with people, thinker, then you're doomed. If you're running a business, you should write a book or something. You have to learn to work with people. That's really important. Be a thinker, leverage it, but be okay with the feelers and the entertainment and the directors. You know, the directors, they're like this. Hey, just get it done. That's all I care about is the bottom line. And there's times where I feel this way. I don't care about the details. Just make it happen. That's a good thing. That there's nothing wrong with that. However, just make sure, thinker, that you don't get so detailed that you're always analyzing. Here's the problem with thinkers. I feel like I'm picking on thinkers and I'm really not trying to. Thinkers analyze until they become mentally constipated. That's not the kind of person you want to be. It's good to think, but sometimes you have to take action and take a risk. And it's okay. Risk is part of running a business. Now, here's the fun part. I'm going to take you guys through what I believe are the 5 stages of building an Amazon business. And I'm going to show you how each of these personality types can help you or kill you in that business. Number 1 is start. That's where you're starting your business. Number 2 is find. You're doing product research. Number 3 is build, where you're building your listing and getting it ready and talking to suppliers and sourcing. Number 4 is launch, where you launch your product and you get the reviews and you start promoting advertising. And finally, number 5 is grow, where you're doing customer service, returns, a lot of detailed work. Hint, hint, thinkers, you'll like this part. Feelers, you will too. Let's start with start. When someone starts, they take a big risk. Directors tend to be good at this. They just want to make it happen. And visionary entertainers tend to be good at this. They're visionary and they see an idea and they're just going to go and make it happen. Steve Jobs most certainly had a combination of director and entertainer, not much feeler. That's why he pissed off a lot of people. A lot of people didn't like him. He learned over time to work on this part. especially after he got ousted from his own company. So you have to be a director and entertainer. You need some of this in you just to start and launch. You need vision, entertainer. You need to make it happen, director. Make a decision. I'm telling you, thinkers really struggle, and feelers, to get out of their job because they're worried about offending people. Boss, I'm firing you. And they're worried about what is it if it doesn't happen? What are the risks? Well, there's going to be risks. You're going to have risks, and you're going to have failures along the way, and you have to be okay with that. However, thinkers, you have an advantage. When you start, you're going to analyze the risks, and that's important. So don't just go off of feeling, feelers. You might be a feeler entertainer where you're super visionary and you have this good feeling and it feels romantic and you're just going to launch and make it happen. But you haven't thought about the cost. Talk to thinkers in your life. This is one of the most important applications of these personality types. Get people in your life who complement your weaknesses. I'll give you an example. I don't know what personality type you think I am. Most of my coaches would call me some kind of combination of a thinker and a feeler. However, other people, when they see me on the videos, they would say, well, you're more of an entertainer. And when things aren't going right, I'm definitely a director. You adjust based on where you're at. My kids would call me an entertainer because they love hanging out and they think it's fun. But when things aren't good, I'd become a director. I'm like, get that done, don't do that. Especially when my kids get into the teenager years or the middle school years, and you have to get really direct with them because they start thinking they know everything. You probably know what I'm talking about. But in my marriage, I tend to be more of a feeler. Sometimes an entertainer, but more of a feeler. My wife is a thinker, so we blend really well. I call her the wife who thinks of everything. She will think of the things I don't think of. And sometimes it drives me crazy because I'm also a director in my marriage, but usually more of a feeler. I just want to see it happen, and I want to feel good about it. But she's like, wait, did you think about this? Did you think about this? Did you ask this? And I need to slow down and ask those important questions. So it's important you understand your weakness. You can complement it with friends, spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, whoever it is, business partners to help you out. So in the start stage, you need a lot of director and entertainer, and you need some thinker to decrease risk. That's the start stage when you launch your business, especially when you decide to fire your boss. The next stage is find. The find stage is when you're researching products. In fact, we built our entire coaching program around these 5 stages. Now in the find stage, you're researching the market to find out what is potential, how much competition is there, what is the search volume, what are the keywords for that search volume, and how can I make sure this product idea is really going to work. This is the part where thinker will help you a lot. You have to get analytical. Be careful about your feelings. A lot of people have demise in their business because they emotionally attach themselves to a product that they loved, but the customer didn't love it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you love it. If the customer doesn't like it, you won't make money. Now, if you're in business for any other reason than to make money so you can have margin, then you shouldn't be in business. And this is where the feelers have to be careful. Just because you love the product doesn't matter. There was this one guy I was coaching before he joined our coaching program. He found these super cool mugs. He was excited about buying them. Turned out there was no market potential. It was a waste of money. Now he's being very analytical when he's researching and finding stuff he doesn't like as much, but if the customer likes it, that's what matters. So you're researching, you're finding data. We even use spreadsheets that force you to be super analytical so you can sort. Okay, really quickly, you can know in a second after doing the research, aha, the number one most important change for this product based on critical customer reviews on Amazon is this. Because I saw it 30 times from all the competitors, but only 20 times did they want a different color. Only 10 times did they want a different thickness or different packaging. See that? So thinkers really excel in the research stage. However, here's the problem. Do not overanalyze. You have to make a decision. Put a time limit on it. You're not going to have all questions answered. You're always going to have new questions, and the market's going to go like this. So at some point, you have to make a decision. Enter the director. Decide which product you're going to go with and build it. Once you're done with the research stage, you're going to move on to what's called the build stage. This is where you're building out your product. You're talking to suppliers. You're negotiating back and forth. You're figuring out what they will do and can't and won't do, and how to differentiate your product so it stands out from the competition. This stage becomes very much a feeler director stage. Still a thinker, but remember the thinker, all the work you did in the research period, now you're going to use that to make a decision on which supplier to go with. However, to negotiate well, you need the feeler. You need to know how to connect with people. A lot of feelers are really good negotiators because they can sense what's important to someone else and they can bring them a value to them, so they in return bring a value to you, and everybody wins. Do not think either or. Think win-win. How can we both win in this negotiation? This is a strength for feelers. However, be careful, feelers. If you get too emotionally connected to your supplier or your manufacturer's representative, you might choose one because you like them, but they may not do as good of a job for you. And how much you like them doesn't matter as much as how good of a job can they do for you. Remember, you're still running a business, and if you want it profitable, make a smart decision. After you're finished with the build stage, you then get to the launch stage. The launch stage is really fun. This is where you get a bunch of people to buy your product, use certain techniques to get reviews that are within Amazon's terms of service. We have a proprietary method to do that in our coaching program. It is awesome and it works. There's no reason you shouldn't get 30 to 50 reviews, boom, within a week when you launch that product. And that boosts it to BSR, people see it, they start buying it. When you're in the launch stage, you're gonna need a combination of these personalities. Number one, you have to be super strategical. You have to be organized with all the people you're connecting with. Thinker, spreadsheets, being organized, thinking it through. Feeler, you need to be able to connect with people. You need to be able to motivate them to work with you. This is huge for building up a strong group of people who can help you out as you launch your product. And then you also need an entertainer because you need vision. You need to see the future. Where do you want to go? How big do you want to make this? The visionaries tend to launch big. They don't think small, they think big. And that's a huge advantage for them over the thinkers and the feelers who are too focused on the facts or too focused on the feelings, but they're thinking limited. Their feelings and facts are limiting their scope. And then finally, we get to the last stage, and that is grow. Now, the growth stage is where you are expanding your store and you're bringing it beyond Amazon. Now, growth's huge, and it covers all four. It's big with director because you have to make decisions and get efficient because you're going to grow your passive income, not just in Amazon, but beyond Amazon. But you're also going to be dealing with a lot of customer issues, so you need the feeler connectivity. You need vision to think big. You need director to be efficient and make it happen, and you list a team of people as employees or contractors to help you. But you also need thinker because you need facts to know if it's going to work. I'm telling you, a combination of all these personalities can make you an amazing person. And it's okay if you lean towards one or two. That's completely normal and natural. We all do. Just know your weakness, surround yourself with people who complement your weakness. Be aware. A huge mistake people make is they will get upset because they're blind about their character defects. Just own it, get over it, get over yourself and say, you know what, this is an area I need to grow in. Will you help me? You think different than me, you're probably gonna annoy me a lot, but I invite you to tell me the truth so I can get better as a business owner, so I can succeed, so I can make more money, so money's no longer an issue. So I have time and margin to do the things I love with the people I love. That was my dream just a few years ago. And that dream is becoming a reality more and more every day. And I wish the same for you. I have a 10-page, what's called a personality awareness guide. It is a PDF and it takes you through all of these in much greater detail. It even shows you how to interact with different personality types and what to watch out for and what to really focus on. If you would like that, I can send you a free copy. It was not made by Just One Dime. It was made by a different company. We give full credit to them at the bottom. But if you'd like us to send that email to you, just drop your email below and we'll send it to you within 24 hours at least. Have an awesome day.